Hello and welcome to issue number 8 of Headline Heroes, a comedy podcast where we take today's headlines and create a comic book origin story. My name is Drew Mick.
I'm Nathan Haynes.
And I'm Tanner Ackerman.
Guys, we're back at it again with that late night Headline Heroes.
After Dark? Is that what we dubbed it?
After Dark. That's what I said.
Headline Heroes After Dark.
So, right out the gate here, I had an idea that I wanted to run by you guys as a potential new segment or just a fun little activity for us to do together.
Okay.
Maybe not a new segment, but
I'll be the judge of fun.
Okay. That's what we elected you to. So you are the fun.
That's
master.
true.
So we go around and we scour the internet for weird news, right? And every once in a while, I noticed when we would be looking for news together, we would come across news that is decidedly not weird or downright shocking that they decided to put into the odd news category. And so I was wondering if I could perchance if we could just discuss some of those articles that definitely are not odd news and will never be in our spreadsheet, but that the internet decided should be put under the odd news category.
I like this idea.
Okay.
Let's see what happens. Yeah. Hit me.
So to start out strong, guys, oh boy. You're never going to believe this.
Okay.
An Oregon suspect tried to put his coworker in a wood chipper, police say.
Super weird. Like,
Can you believe it? Like, he tried to murder somebody.
That's so wacky.
That's pretty wild, Fox News.
What was that, like Fargo that they do that in or something?
Yeah, oh my god, that's such a fucked up scene.
Yeah, not seen, just know that's a thing.
Just hilarious, though.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
That's
the weird, just super
weird and wacky news. That was Fox News.
It took everything in my being to not put it in our spreadsheet, but I had to resist.
He merges with wood chipper.
That would be basically where we would get to, though, pretty fast.
Yeah, that's exactly it, and that would be horrifying.
Or the person would split into several tiny versions of themselves. No, we can't, guys.
Nope.
We can't do this.
Nope.
The wheels are turning now.
Next article up that I thought was pretty wacky. Great grandmother accidentally prays to Lord of the Rings figurine. And in this article, I think they're making fun of an old woman.
That's just mean.
What figure was it? Was it like...
What figure do you think it was?
Was it Gandalf?
It was not Gandalf. I'll give you 3 guesses.
Aragorn?
It was not Aragorn.
Was she really getting into some weird religious stuff and like Sauron?
Oh, shit. No. Sorry. All guesses are wrong. It was Elrond.
Now, so
that's
who?
That's Hugo Weaving, the guy who played Agent Smith.
Yeah.
In The Matrix.
Oh, that guy.
Tanner, you need to come down here and watch The Lord of the Rings with me like a big boy.
I know, we'll do our Wings and Rings sometime.
Tanner and I have big plans to one day watch The Lord of the Rings in one day while just gorging on wings.
And then immediately dying afterwards.
Yeah, probably.
Well, you'll be at your happiest after you've watched the extended edition of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit in sequence.
Oh, God.
The Hobbit's not a
die.
part of this. No.
Okay.
No.
I do have a couple more articles that I'd love to run, but just one more article. I think 3 is probably good.
Okay.
All right.
This one's kind of in the same vein as the last one. It's from The Telegraph. Fed up at work? Be thankful you're not this sewer cleaner from Bangladesh. So in this article, they basically posit, fuck this guy, right? Like,
super weird.
Your life is not nearly as shitty as his.
His is literally shitty.
But I found that in the odd news category, and I feel like there's really a warped sense of what's odd and what's not in the world.
That's not even an
What's
article.
News? That's like definitely not news.
Yeah, that's just like,
not
look
news
at
at
this
all.
guy. Here's a
Nepal
guy.
man dies trying to become the oldest Mount Everest climber at 85. Okay, so what you're telling me in this article is that this man died.
This man died.
That's pretty
so
funny.
weird. I love it.
That's so strange. I can't believe he did that and then he died, though.
No,
so
is this all coming from one news site?
Oh, no. I made sure to
Okay.
spread the love. Really, we've been doing this for 8 episodes now, and I've seen a lot of news that is not news and is not funny.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or weird or strange.
Nate, what I loved about that thing that we just did was how wacky it was and how much fun I really
Hold on,
had.
let me call the NBC News so they can put our article next to the article about the Nepal man dying. 3 local boys make podcast segment about bad news. Hilarious.
Weird news.
That was just a little segment that I wanted to run by you guys, see what you thought. Just kind of noodle on that for the future. It's a
Let us know what you guys think.
Peek into the life we lead, looking at weird internet news.
This is why we need more news articles, because I'm going insane. looking at some of these.
It's true.
Oh, Python swallows man whole. So weird. Oh, God. I saw that at 5 different news sites.
Yeah, I saw that.
And every time I'm just like, that's disgusting. Also, a man died.
Yeah, the news seems very quick to overlook the fact that somebody died to make this article for them. So So if you're still listening to this after 8 minutes, if you haven't figured it out already, it's pretty obvious that this is Headline Heroes. It's a podcast where we take recent headlines and use them as inspiration for origin stories for heroes and villains. So we've been wading through the slog of bad, weird news for the past week, and we've got a couple of them here that we're going to select one at random and use it to see what we can make together. Tanner, what are we making this week?
So we are doing a hero this week since we did a villain last week with Baconstein.
Good old Baconstein.
Not the Baconstein, just Baconstein.
Well,
Mary Shelley's Baconstein.
I think Mary Shelley would have wanted the Baconstein, but whatever. Neither here nor
Creative
there.
differences. Okay, and the article this week is number 14 for you guys, and it's at the World Coal Carrying Championships, the winner gets sacked, and it's from Huffington Post.
And I think this is actually one that was sent in to us by someone who listens.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Sean Hilland. Please don't be mad. I tried my best.
Please stand up.
Well, okay.
You can sit down now, Sean.
And that's the rest of the episode for today, guys. We'll see you next time.
See you guys
On Headline Heroes.
Yeah, this is our first user-submitted one.
Yes, now I'm excited. Huffington Post.
That's fun.
I feel like, guys, Huffington Post just comes through for us consistently.
Yeah, they do have the majority of the good, weird news articles that are actually weird and news.
All right. Kind of like that sign spinning thing, we have another contest championship, and it's just carrying coal.
So my immediate thought is a man who is like a train and runs on coal.
It's a little unfair when everyone's stretching and training to be in this coal contest, and then a locomotive rolls up.
That's how he wins.
I got it.
Our next competitor is Mr. T Tank Engine. Oh, okay, it is. Okay, it is Thomas the Tank Engine.
Tommy Tank Engine. Okay. That could be something like a literal human locomotive. I, for some reason, had the idea of this is the anti-Santa.
See, that's interesting that you say that, because my first thought was, who would be very good at carrying coal? Who, would you say it's basically his job to carry coal once a year? And I was immediately on Santa Claus.
Well, okay, so we want to just create Santa?
Or anti-Santa.
Well, okay, guys, we're making a hero. Are you positing an anti-Santa anti-hero?
Okay, we could work with that though. What if Santa's actually like a really big jerk?
Much like NASA, Santa is actually a villain in this universe.
What if Santa's like really just kind of like a very sarcastic, kind of passively mean person, but he gets such hype because he's Santa Claus and all the kids love him, and he's just kind of riding on that fame. But then there's anti-Santa.
So
I don't know
what constitutes an anti-Santa. Like what makes him anti-Santa?
Well, he's really good at carrying that coal.
Oh, absolutely.
I was gonna say, what if he follows Santa around and he's the one that's got all that coal, and Santa says coal here, and he's like, my time now, and he gives out the coal.
So how is he a hero?
Well, there's a whole big joke that goes around that I think is pretty topical given the current political climate in the state of America. That isn't that funny how basically Santa's always watching you, in that like a gross invasion of privacy, and maybe anti-Santa. Maybe that's why he doesn't like Santa Claus. Santa Claus is a jerk, and not only that, he's spying on the whole entire world.
Santa's a big old sicko.
Exactly. Like, of course there's going to be somebody who doesn't like Santa Claus and opposes him in every single way. That's the anti-Santa.
So he's like anti-Big Brother.
Exactly.
Oh, that's a big statement from anti-Santa. Love it.
I liked your idea about him working for Santa Claus. What if he used to work for Santa as his coal carrier, and then he got fed up with being a part of such a bad sort of business of spying on the world and deciding whether they were naughty or nice?
Now, if we go this route, we are making a statement that Santa Claus is real in this universe, which is no problem because Marvel, DC all have had like their weird Santa team up, which is always a weird issue. But we will be willing to admit that Santa is going to be real, which is cool, which is fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like it. Okay, what was the locomotive? Now we could combine that.
Mm-hmm. Like that could be his actual powers. Because I just picture like a man who, like, if he eats coal, I guess, like can't be stopped. Like kind of like the Juggernaut in a sense, but like a normal human-sized person, but can like run with the power of a locomotive or something like that.
So Santa's got ho ho ho, and this guy's going choo choo choo.
God damn it, Drew.
What?
That was so bad.
No, that's great.
Santa's like ho 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 ho, and this guy's like no. You know what I mean?
Okay, Tanner, that was worse, right?
I think he was mocking you.
Excelsior. Guys, we need to rein it back
Excelsior.
in. We're talking about last week's stuff. This is a new day.
This is a new day, new week.
This is a new hero.
Okay, so
All right.
Anti-Santa. So what's his agenda? Is he like trying to take down Santa? And how?
What if it's kind of like a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer thing? Santa gets sick and Anti-Santa, Mrs. Claus comes to him and says, Anti-Santa, you need to be the Santa this year. And then he goes around doing what Santa does on Christmas and somehow just knocks out of the park, and all the kids just love him. I'll see myself out.
I don't understand. Then what
And
happens?
then what?
And then discuss.
I don't know where to go.
Discuss.
Yes.
That was more just like
And?
a thing that happens. It wasn't like really what he was doing. To
I'm not
Santa or
hearing any
anything.
discussing. I'm just hearing a lot of criticism.
Hey, Tanner, I would like to discuss something with you now together. How easy do you think it would be to kick Drew out of the club? Good talk. I will start that now.
Hey, Siri. Oh my God, it actually responded. Hey, Siri.
Eschew theological disquisition.
No. I was going to do a funny little joke there, but then Siri actually responded.
God damn it, Drew.
I'm sorry. Let's bring it back.
Yeah, shoot. We don't even need to edit this one.
After dark.
Okay, so for real, what can he be doing to be like anti-Santa? I don't think just doing his job real good one night is like a good enough.
Drew, I feel like we're not focusing enough on the fact that he is anti-Santa.
Yeah.
He is in every way, shape, and form the opposite of Santa. He wouldn't be going around doing Santa's job. He hates that shit.
Okay, fine.
He's anti-Santa.
So he's got to be kind of like, okay. Character traits. What makes someone anti-Santa, but then also still a good person?
The anti-Big Brother thing. He hates the surveillance.
Well, yes.
Mm-hmm. He's...
Does he not like? Is his tummy not like a bowl full of jelly?
He's very thin. Ooh, he's like a razor
super
thin.
skinny, but also just got that he can really lift that coal.
Mm-hmm.
So he could just be just ripped. Like he could be
That's
super
true,
heavy, but ripped out of his mind.
That'd still be anti-Santa.
absolutely.
Just straight diesel.
Swole
And
Santa.
when he opens his mouth, he lets out a train horn. Like, it's just like...
That's kind of just... That's a little terrifying.
That's awesome.
No. Scare away evildoers. Whenever he sees surveillance, he can just open his...
So he could be like a good guy, but like anti-surveillance, so like anti-government. Is it like Santa actually works with the government, and that's how the government's able to like survey everyone? Is that too weird?
What if we take the Punisher, put a little Santa hat on him? Done? Question mark?
I think that's it. And he makes a train horn sound when he opens his mouth.
Just constant train horns.
That like he can't even talk. Like he can just make train noises.
I love that image, but I'm not sure if it works for a hero. I don't know.
I really like it.
Okay, Drew, just 1 second.
Uh-huh.
I'm doing something right now that's gonna convince you. I have faith. So imagine anti-Santa Claus comes up as a bank robber, and he comes over, and bank robber's like, what are you gonna do? And he opens his mouth, and you just hear... Like, wouldn't the guy just drop the bag of money?
Yes. Oh my god. That is
He tries to run away,
hilarious.
and he's like... That's more of a growl that was happening right there.
And he whistled and shouted and called the by name train whistle.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all... Oh man, there's 8 different train horns on here. This is really a quality app, and it was free.
What? This
That
is
was
an
an
app? I thought it was YouTube.
That's
That
not a
one
train.
wasn't very
That was some
good.
chugga chuggas. This is good. This is good. This is great. Nate, yeah, keep it coming. You're making me so aroused. I love it.
Hey Drew, you know what? You got him.
Got him.
So maybe it's not
We're really all over the place.
maybe it's not exclusive that that's all he can do, but every so often he's just got to let out like someone who's had a lot of seltzer has to belch. He's just got to whistle.
Like in the middle of a sentence, sometimes he accidentally lets it out.
Yep. All right. So all right, Nate, get us on
Okay,
track. What do we need to discuss?
Well, okay, we basically everything. So let's collect ourselves.
All right.
And go back to the basics. He's this man. He's ripped.
Actually, what if somehow this anti-Santa is a bit kind of steampunky and kind of has parts of him that are kind of locomotive in nature?
I mean, do you guys think it would be helpful at all to abandon the Santa angle and maybe just go for a steampunk coal-powered robot man?
I
Oh my
honestly
God,
forgot
yes.
about the original issue, article. I was
You were so
involved.
hung up on Santa.
I was.
I think the anti-Santa's way too specific.
I feel like we're in putting him in juxtaposing him with Santa Claus. He's inherently either going to be like make Santa look like a dick, or he's going to end up being evil.
He's gonna be Krampus.
If this was a villain, it would be easier, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think we need to drop the anti-Santa thing. It's too specific. And Santa's inherently a good guy.
Yeah. I'm just being a big old huffy boy because I liked it.
He really like
But
the
no,
Santa thing.
I do understand. Yeah, okay, let's
Well, where are we going to start then? Are we basically going back to the drawing board? But
No, I think we've got
Let's
some
keep
good
it going.
elements we want to pull. Like locomotive body parts.
And the whole like train.
The train whistle.
And the train's like powers.
but
and
are we
stuff.
actually doing Santa Claus stuff?
No.
What? No, I think he's just okay. Then we need to create an origin story as to why he is train in nature. Where do we need to start?
Basically at the beginning.
Okay.
I was not kidding.
I liked a lot of what we had.
Hold on,
though.
let me give ourselves a moment of zen. 1 second. Everybody just take a moment just to be quiet. It looks great on the sound monitor here. So like what if this is sort of we loop in a man out of time storyline? Like this guy was actually like he was born back in the time of railroads, like when railroads were at an all-time high, underwent some sort of accident involving a train, because of course like we don't like when coal-powered trains were way more popular and prominent, and somehow got stuck in stasis until just recently. Like, I mean, I don't know. That could be an interesting angle on it.
How would they put someone in stasis back then? I'm sure it's possible. I'm sure we could think of something.
Here's so have you ever you know how they have like you can smoke meat to like keep it good longer? They smoked them with coal smoke. They put them in a
Yes.
So you're talking about preserving.
Yeah, they preserved him into some sort of man jerky. Nah, you can
That was
here,
a,
let me just
that
I'll
was a
just
weird way to word
mark the
that.
time codes
Man
down here.
jerky.
You can delete.
All right, no, but okay. So what if it's just some guy gets hit by a train, and the only technology, maybe we don't need to have him get hit by a train, gets in an accident. The only technology available is steampunky kind of stuff, and so they put him back together. Maybe he's just lived that long. He was born back in the 1800s, and he's just still around.
I like that actually. That then we don't have to worry about the problem of how he was preserved, because he just lived that long because of his attachments that he had.
Somehow it got rid of certain things, like his heart was replaced mechanically.
His vocal cords were replaced with the train,
The train
horn.
whistle.
I actually like that a lot.
They had to use what parts
you
were
had
around.
Mm-hmm.
You had mentioned that he didn't necessarily have to get hit by a train, but it would be pretty easy to say, he got hit by a train, managed to survive like while he was working on the railroad.
I was just gonna
one day.
say.
And then like, what are we gonna? This man is dying. What are we gonna heal him with? Well, what's the closest closest available stuff.
There's this train over here. We got a big old choo-choo.
These train parts this train that just crashed into him.
The crash was so big. Like, he's a big guy and he causes his train to derail.
Mm-hmm. Trains were very weak.
A very behemoth of a man. And also trains were very, very weak back then. Yes, I like this. Now, because he's from the old Wild West, maybe he's bringing some of that gunslinging attitude back with us, back to the not back
future?
Back to the future, into the present day. Let's say that
he's bringing it back to the future, 1 second at a time.
Yes. So maybe it's kind of I think he would be kind of more of an anti-hero then. I think that would be easier to do.
And he hates Santa Claus.
Who was it? Jonah Hex.
No, Jonah Hill.
Yeah, from Superbad.
Jonah Hex Hill from Superbad, where he got his face all grinded up and was a gunslinging guy at a party.
Are you talking about
Seth Rogen was there?
Are you talking about Get Him to the Greek with Russell Brand? What a hoot that was, right?
That was wacky.
That was a movie.
Did you not like it?
I thought it was all right. I like that other movie with Russell Brand, same character in it.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
That was a great movie.
Did they get him to the Greek, by the way?
I think they ended up getting him to the Greek.
Spoilers.
I didn't check in
up on that Acropolis. Yes, the Greek was achieved.
All right, Drew, I'm sorry. I interrupted you. You were talking about Jonah Hex?
No, let's talk more about Jonah Hill. Now,
okay, well, I'm glad you asked. Let me just do a quick Google search about Jonah Hill.
Now, what my favorite thing is that Jonah Hill was in Wolf of Wall Street. I'm pretty sure.
He absolutely was.
He took a big pay cut in order to be in that movie. He just really wanted to be in that movie.
More power to him.
Yeah, Also, you saw his ding-a-ling in that movie.
Sorry, be right back. Let's go watch a movie.
So, choo-choos.
Choo-choos.
So what has this dude been doing? Oh, sorry, you actually had said, well, he's gunslinging. You wondered if he was maybe bringing some Jonah Hex gunslinging.
Maybe he's just been hanging out in like the mountains. He's been up in those Rockies.
Has he just been like hiding out until the world needed him, or until he saw this coal carrying championship?
He's been a recluse. He's been up there in his cabin, oiling his limbs, and just he wanted to be alone. And then one day a flyer flew into his face, and it said "coal champion needed." And
we need one, please.
We need one.
Now
Somebody
hiring.
help.
And he says, "I can do that." And he comes down,
and then just straight up wrecks it, and that's like his reveal that he exists even to the world.
It could be that he's revealed himself earlier than that instance. And well, okay, here's an idea. Discuss.
God damn it, Drew.
Oh, okay. Well, when you put it like that.
What if for some reason this guy shows up to the Coal Championship and he is trying to make himself look human? Like he's wearing pants and clothes, but it's just really obvious that he is a cyborg steampunky person. But he thinks he's covering up.
But why would he do this? Why would he come to the competition? Why would he feel that he needs to put himself out there, even if it is a coal carrying championship? Why does he feel that that's worth blowing his entire reclusivity for?
Maybe he needs the prize money to get treatment for his sick daughter.
Oh, he had a daughter.
She could now.
Can you buy coal? If I wanted to go buy coal, could I get some?
You can go get some charcoal.
But that's not coal.
It's got coal in it.
I think they're different.
I think if you take a bunch of pencils, number 2, and just take all the wood out of it.
I think that's not coal. Drew, what do you think coal is? It's the stuff on the end of your pencils, the little pink thing.
I'm pretty sure you can buy coal to answer your question.
You gotta be able to.
Well, I'm just asking because this dude runs on coal, but maybe he can't. All the mines are either too dangerous for him to go inside, or they're all shut down. They're all got security around him from big old mining corporations.
Okay,
he's dying, and
I have an idea. Yeah,
coal.
Okay.
Tanner, what?
I was gonna say I had an idea as well, but you can do yours.
Okay, maybe we have the same idea. What if he's been up in the mountain? He's been mining all day long, old John Henry, and then the mine is just out of coal.
Yes, that was exactly my idea.
Yes, I figured. And so he comes down off the mountain. He's scanning for coal. He finds it. He sees it at the coal championship thing and just starts carrying it away. And everyone's like, whoa, look at this guy. He's carrying so much coal, knocking it out of the park. And that is why he is there.
And they're so distracted by the fact that he's carrying so much coal. They're just like awestruck that they don't even notice he's not carrying it. Like he's carrying it past the finish line out into the hills.
They also
Oh my
don't
God,
notice
did you
him
see that?
reaching
Where did
into
he-
it and like pulling it
Where'd
out
he
like
go?
popcorn,
Just eating it.
just munching on it. Yes. Yes.
Okay, we found it.
I think that's it right there. So once he does that, what does he go back up to the mountain, and that's the end of Old Ironside?
Well, okay, so you were saying how he's like a Western gunslinger, so I was thinking that this town ends up getting attacked by, I don't know, you know how like in old Western movies there's like a bad guy that would come and there's always a reluctant hero who has to come and save him?
Yeah, kind of like maybe some rough biker gang comes into town.
Yeah, and then like some citizen who like saw how super strong he was and stuff follows him back to his place and asks for his help.
I like that.
But yeah, so that's like how he starts being a hero, is they convince him to help this town.
This is a great idea. I am in love with the idea of this guy protecting this town kind of in the way that people would do in the Old West, except with a modern day spin. Or more of, it's a modern day town that's got like something bad happening to it, and he's bringing an Old West spin to it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's kind of like Clint Eastwood being in his house, and suddenly he finds a reason to care about people.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
Slowly, they just start leaving little egg bakes outside of his cabin, to thank him or to say, hey, good job at that coal carrying thing. Thanks for also not taking any of the prize money and just insisting on just all the coal. That's great. That saved us a lot of money. We put the money into a new library for the town.
Oh.
What if some kids get stuck in a mine? They go exploring. They're not supposed to. It's derelict. They shouldn't go in there. And the mine collapses on them. And so they know, well, who can carry so much coal to get these kids out of there? Who can basically just tear right through it as though we're cotton candy? Well, it's this guy.
It's like, yeah. So they bring him in. He's really pissed, and he, like, at first he doesn't want to, but then he has a heart. He has a big old mechanical beater. And it's kind of like, it's not exactly, but it's like John Henry, Man versus the Machine, except it is man and machine together, just digging in.
Yes. I like that. So
and
it's
that's
like
what brings it out.
Helping this town.
Yes.
This small town. Like he's like a local guardian almost.
Uh-huh.
I mentioned before a biker gang. Is that an element we wanted to keep in?
I mean, that could be another story.
Yeah. Well, because I like the idea because it's sort of like a biker gang is sort of like a modern day bandit posse or something like that, where they all ride around together and cause trouble, raise heck. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What I feel like we have so much good stuff and we can just go off on it. Okay, let's get organized. We have power. Well, we don't really have powers. We just know he's kind of strong. We have origin of powers, motivation. We've got. What does he look like, I suppose?
Well, let's see here. I feel like he's like half man, half train, right? Which sounds ridiculous. I know. Maybe instead of a neck, or his neck would be, he's just got this big fat train whistle, like with the little notch cut into it where the sound comes out. Mm-hmm. So like that's where the actual noise comes from when he makes his terrible screeching train whistle.
I like that. I like the neck. I imagine he has normal legs because he's got to be able to move through that rugged mountain terrain. But what if where the joints are, where like his knees and his hips are, it's wheels, and that's how it moves and pivots, and he can walk. But if he needs to, it can transform and he can get onto a train track.
I like that he can only move at like fast distances himself if he comes upon train tracks.
I mean, he could probably move, like, run a little faster than is normal, but if he gets on that train track...
he wants to, like, really get booking, he's like, I gotta get down to the train yard.
There's gotta be some weird chase scene where he's going after the bandits. They've stolen out of the register at the general store. And for some reason, wherever they're trying to flee from, there's always a train track. And he can always catch up with them. He's always keeping pace with them.
Well, like they run into like some old mines or something.
Yes.
So he just goes on the old mine tracks.
That would be like the comic book thing where like somehow freaking every issue the villain manages to go on goddamn train tracks or in a mine every time. Why do they do it? They could just go on the road. He can't catch up with them if they're in a car.
All right. So legs, whistle, arms.
I thought it would be cool if we could somehow make it so that one of his arms was a gun, but I feel like that is sort of done a lot, so I would be okay just dropping it entirely.
It could be instead of a gun, it just shoots coal.
Yeah, but like out of what?
Another
Again.
whistle.
Another whistle, yes.
Well, I was thinking one of the arms could just be more robotic or more trained like than the other, and that one just like that arm is stronger, so he has some like super strength almost. Because I think he needs to have some like abilities outside of being able to go on train tracks.
I think this guy, like, at least his torso needs to be very mechanical so we can justify he is living this long. I feel like those organs have to be a little mechanical there.
Oh, absolutely. Like I feel like if you opened up his chest cavity, there would be like
gears of a clock.
There'd be like a train wheel that's being pushed by like one of those bars. You know how like the train wheels all move with the bars on the side?
Yes.
So it'd be like one of those that's just like pushing his heart, or like pushing a wheel which like squeezes his mechanical heart and pumps blood to his body. Maybe oil.
Oh,
I don't know.
What if his tummy is it's like a big oven that he can open up and there's flames in there, and he just keeps throwing coal in there.
Well, so he throws it in his stomach, or does he still eat it?
He could.
I like the idea of this
the
dude
visual of
looking
him
just,
eating's good.
Yeah, like looking absolute batshit crazy, just eating coal in front of these people for the first time.
Okay, so let me retcon. His tummy is a big old kiln kind of thing with no visible door, but some slots in there that you can see that fire.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh,
Yeah, I dig on that.
That would be kind of a weakness, though. He can't go in that water.
Boom, weakness.
Dang.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So we have, just kind of going through our mental checklist, we have our powers. We have our origin of his powers. We have a weakness. He can't go in. If he goes in water and he floods his chamber, he's gonna die, right?
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
you sort of have his costume, and that I assume he just like wears what he looks like is his quote unquote costume. He doesn't really have an alter ego.
He's got to have a cowboy hat.
Oh, absolutely. And it's one of those like funny scenes where like he's not actually wearing one, but then like they happen to go through a costume store in a chase scene, and he like one falls on his head and he just like keeps it.
Or he goes through multiple costume stores, multiple aisles in that, and every time he emerges, it's a different hat. Like he goes through and it's a sombrero and it says da 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 da, and then it goes to the next one and it's a Scottish hat, and then it does bagpipes.
What are those called?
Bagpipes playing.
Scottish hats.
Oh, okay.
Like duffer hats? I don't know.
I think that might actually be right.
Wow. I think you.
I called your bluff, and you may have accidentally delivered.
Duffer hat.
Oh well, a duffer hat. A duffer is an incompetent or stupid person, especially an elderly one. So Bushido Soba would like a word, please. How could you use that
I
word?
thought a duffer was like a golf term.
It's also a person inexperienced at something, especially at playing golf.
Oh, okay. All right. Did we decide on mechanical arms or normal arms or maybe just armored arms?
I like the idea of another whistle being shooting coal, but maybe because maybe there's like a weird balance there. He can shoot coal, but then that's less coal he has for his tummy.
Now, did we want to he could just dual wield like pistols, like old fashioned revolvers.
And they shoot coal?
No, it's just a gun, Tanner. It's just a gun. I'm not sure if he would want to shoot coal because he needs coal is his lifeblood.
Yeah, but bullets kill people.
Well, I think that
Drew.
actually makes it him interesting, though.
Oh, you
Like,
got
he's
me
a-
there,
he's a-
Tanner. You got me there. Damn it again.
I think I agree with Nate that it makes it more interesting because he can't always shoot people then because he has to be conservative with it.
He's a hero where by being a hero he just kills himself a little bit. Yeah,
If
he
you
has to
can
choose
give
to
me-
make that sacrifice.
If you can give me the scenario where they're rebuilding this person and they're just like, let's give him a coal gun.
Drew, if you can give me the scenario where in real life they would actually rebuild a person with train parts, go ahead.
Well, what we just
Always.
created, obviously.
Oh my god.
It's just like, we can rebuild him, y'all. Faster.
So they said, but maybe they didn't mean for it to be a gun. They were like, well, gee, it'd be super easy instead of like shoveling this coal all around. What if we could get it such that like this guy just shoves it in his mouth and he fires it out of his hand
Okay,
into
so
our train
they
carts?
redesigned him to be a more efficient railroad yard worker.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then he can actually, but like it shoots out of his hand, but then like also it shoots so fast that he could hurt somebody by using it.
I do want him to have a pistol, though, a revolver. Maybe for his other hand.
What if instead of having his whole hand be a whistle, his arm was very big and Like he still had 4 out of his 5 fingers, but one of the fingers was an exceedingly large, like a maybe 2 inches wide pipe from the train, and so he could do like a finger gun.
Okay.
Pew pew.
Pew.
Or we can just
pew,
go with the arm
pew,
thing.
Pew. I was imagining a cyborg whole arm cannon.
Well, I mean that's what I was imagining too, but then I was like,
what if we did
for fun?
Oh,
I took us on a whimsical journey.
that was real fun. That was great. What if we did full arm cannon and then pistol on other hand? Because when I think Wild West, I think of the quick draw scenario.
That's fair.
We gotta have that Wild West element in there.
Okay, yeah, he has a 6-shooter.
Fine, Drew, you can have your 6-shooter.
What is his? Okay,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say first comic book cover, or we could do first victory.
Name.
We've already kind of done first victory. Oh, name. Name is also important.
Name. I feel like we can't do the cover without the name.
Anti-Santa.
Yes.
Anti-Santy.
Tank the Thomas engine.
Tom Tank.
He is kind
Thomas the Tank.
We have we could do something with trains, something steampunk.
Train face.
That's good, Tanner. Keep going.
Hey, bud. That's real good.
Steampunk Larry.
Yeah, that's it. Choo Chet. Fuck. What if we named him?
We could do an Old West sheriff kind of thing. What if he's like Sheriff Coleman?
Oh, that's a good one.
And it's instead of Coleman spelled like Coleman, it's Coalman. And they just call him sheriff because he just kind of became the unofficial sheriff of this town.
Sheriff Coleman. I like that.
I actually think that's pretty good.
That's-
I'm down with that.
Yeah, that's easily the best thing that we've come up with.
Yeah. What was his pedestrian name then? Was his last name Coleman, Coleman? And
that
then
makes
he
sense.
introduced himself as John Coleman, and they just assume that it's spelled Coalman.
I like
There's
that.
the hero name.
Okay, what is there anything left to discuss? What
Comic book cover?
Comic book cover.
comic book cover? We've done kind of first victory, or at least we've discussed him stumbling into the coal championship, dieseling the fuck out of that.
He's looking for coal, right?
Yeah, he's looking for coal, and everyone's just like, oh my lord, and just super impressed by him. And then also the mission in the mine, and that's how he rescues these kids, and the kids kind of, they grow on him. And it's kind of Gran Torino. He helps some people, and they just keep giving him food.
And here's the thing: like he helps them, and in a little way, in a certain way, they help him back.
How do they help him back, Nate?
Reminding him of his humanity.
Oh, that could be a whole thing. He spent so long on the mountain. He's maybe forgotten, or he just views himself as more machine than man.
Absolutely. It's been 150 years of being part train.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
So I get the impression from this town about this town we're talking about. It's a small town, right? It's not like a huge metropolis or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes.
I kind of enjoy the idea that he's like the sheriff for a lot of small little towns out in the desert that there's a whole lot of train lines that go to, but otherwise, they don't have the luxury of being in a place with all these different superheroes and people and police to help them with issues that come their way and dangers that they encounter. So there's this shining hero that comes out, and he is part train, part man, and he's out there to help the little guy who everyone else has sort of forgotten.
Okay. Yeah, and that would maybe this biker gang is preying on all of these towns then.
Mm-hmm. No one there to stop him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's that comic book cover look like, though?
We could portray him initially taking all of the coal from the competition, but that's boring. I mean, that's kind of, I don't know. What do you guys think?
You could do the classic Western standoff, like at high noon, where he's on one end and all the bikers are on the other end of the town.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got his 6-shooter and his coal arm up.
Yeah, or his hand right next to his 6-shooter, getting ready to draw it.
They're also fucking terrified because they did not know that this kind of situation still existed.
Yeah, the bikers look more confused than they do confrontational.
Yeah.
And then it just says Sheriff Coleman at the top, and it looks like it's made out of coal, like the lettering.
Yes. And there's like a screech coming out of the whistle on his neck.
slogan, "This town ain't trained enough for the two of us."
That's awful.
And everyone's kind of like, that doesn't. Did he say? You know what? That's
Whatever.
let's let him have it.
He's doing us a big favor right now.
I think we did it.
Nate, did you want to attempt?
Oh, Jesus Christ! So I think it has something to do with anti-Santa. Yeah, I can give it a shot. Feel free, as always, of course, to jump in if I miss any important details, because Lord knows we went places. So back in the 1850s, does that sound about right?
About right.
Yeah.
A young man named John Coleman, right, was working on the railroad all the livelong day. And when a horrible accident struck, he was maybe hit by a train, or like a train derailed and he got smashed as part of the ensuing accident. Fortunately, there was a doctor on site who could, in a pinch, use his advanced medical abilities to sort of construct a new body or repair the John Coleman's body, but he had to make him part train. So John Coleman, ashamed of his new, well, I should back up and say that they wanted to use him as a tool as a mining tool, now that could load coal faster than any other machine they had at the time. But I'm going to just take a creative liberty and say that John Coleman escaped, hating what he had become, retreated into the wilderness, into the mountains, and he would go forth every once in a while to steal coal from local coal mines to keep himself alive, because, of course, in his new form, he ran on coal. He had much more. His body was outfitted with sort of steampunky train style mechanics, and so making him a lot stronger. He has a gun instead of a hand that he can shoot coal out of. Is there anything else I'm missing from a power perspective? Oh, he has a train whistle in his throat that allows him to emit some horrifying noises.
Also, just a typical 6-shooter.
And a typical 6-shooter. Never forget.
Mm-hmm.
And he was content to stay this way for many years until all the coal supply started to dry up and he couldn't get access to it anymore. Until one day he read of a competition that was being held for the World Coal Carrying Championships. And he knew, of course, that there would be tons of coal then for him to eat and use to stay alive. So he went, gathered up as much coal as he could possibly lift in those huge arms of his, started eating it immediately, of course, and then retreated back into the mountains. But of course, everybody saw him doing this at the World Coal Championships. And later, when some kids would venture into the mines, despite being told not to go there because they were dangerous, the mine collapsed. The town, needing help, but knowing that they couldn't go to anyone else for it because they were so far out in the wilderness, went and found Mr. Coleman and begged them for his help. He grew to love the town, love the children, and sort of stuck around a lot longer than they had expected, helping them fight off the local biker gang that was terrorizing the town. And that is, I believe, if I recall correctly, the story that we came up with.
And earning the title of sheriff by the people.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. He introduced himself as John Coleman, and so they thought his name was Coleman instead of Coleman.
Yeah,
perfect.
Sheriff Coleman. That's
him.
Ooh, took us a bit, but we got there.
I'm impressed with that, Nate.
We did. I tried my best, and I think in the end, I'm happy with our little Coleman that we made up.
Coleman, choo choo. Okay.
Sorry, what was that, Drew?
I said choo choo, choo choo.
Oh, sorry. There's a train going by outside.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so did we want to have a discussion of, does this guy tie in? My gut says it's going to be hard, or maybe we shouldn't because he's kind of a recluse, and this town maybe seems a bit cut off.
That's kind of the impression I think I got from the story, the world we created.
Scenario I could see is if there was some particular hero that was chasing a certain villain, and like the villain went to try to hide in one of the small towns that he protects, and then like they would end up doing a crossover that way. But that's it. I don't see it being anything other than a special thing.
A crossover could be forced anyway, but I think it's going to take a lot to get this guy to leave his towns.
And there's not really any reason for any of our existing heroes to go way out in the wilderness.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The only way it would ever happen is if someone was going to him. There's no way he's going to venture to New York.
Mech Gruff Unleashed, and then it just runs.
Quite literally, he gets off of his leash and he runs to Washington
That could be
State.
a whole story arc.
I mean, is there anything else we need to discuss about this guy, or are we good to go?
I think we're good.
Okay. So this has been issue number 8 of Headline Heroes, featuring our new superhero creation, Sheriff Coleman. We did want to take this time to, of course, thank Brett Jacobson, who created the art for our show, and also Carl Sorensen, who created the music for our show. Carl's website is carljsorensen.com, which there is a link to in the description. Again, if you found any articles that you think would be great for us to discuss, our email is headlineheroescast@gmail.com. Otherwise, you can tweet them at us at our Twitter at headline_heroes. We also try to keep that updated with the episode news and whatnot. We also have a Facebook page, just Headline Heroes. And if you were feeling very generous, it would be really great if you could leave us a review on iTunes. Just shoot us something, give us a rating, give us some feedback. We love to read it. It's really great. So yeah, thank you again for joining us, and we hope you will pick up the next issue of Headline Heroes. I fucking knew you'd do that. God damn, I fucking knew it.
What?